Hi, welcome to my video. This week I'm sharing a recipe for a simple dal. This is part of the Recipes for Bachelors playlist, which is really just a collection of recipes that hopefully take some guesswork out of making everyday dishes. And this video will also teach you how to use your pressure cooker, which can be a little intimidating, and I was certainly afraid of my pressure cooker for a long time, but now I can't live without it. You're going to need some yellow split peas. These are chana dal, but if you don't have that, you can certainly use tur dal. What you have to do before you do anything else is sift through your dal and pick out any stones. I don't know why there's stones in dal. I've always found this very puzzling, but there are always one or two, and you'll know when you see them. Pick those out and throw them away. You do not want to bite down on that while you're eating. Next, soak your dal for at least 30 minutes. You could even do this the night before. You don't have to do it, but it does help in the cooking process. While the dal is soaking, chop up some tomato. I have about 3/4 of a tomato here, but one medium tomato or even a large tomato should be just fine. And it doesn't have to be attractive. The way you chop this won't make any difference in the end. We're not going to be using any onions or garlic in this recipe, but we are going to be using some asafoetida. And if you've never smelt this before, then you are in for a treat. And by not using any onion or garlic, this recipe is also safe for Janes. Next, you're going to grate some ginger. A 1-inch piece should be enough. And for our spices, we're going to be using whole cumin seeds, red chili powder, and finally, some turmeric powder. You'll also need salt to taste, as well as some water. This dal cooks really nicely with a ratio of 1 to 3.5. And finally, some oil. And now we get to use our pressure cookers. Confront your pressure cooker with confidence. Put some oil in it and turn on the heat. Then add some cumin seeds to the oil and wait for them to crackle. When you hear that sound, that's how you'll know that the oil is hot enough. Add the remainder of the cumin seeds as well as the asafoetida. Next comes the ginger, and be sure to push it around so that it doesn't burn or get stuck at the bottom of the cooker. Then you can add the remaining spices and allow them to roast in the oil until they're aromatic. Once the spices have cooked a little bit and they no longer smell raw, add the tomato. And as usual, be sure to give that a bit of a stir and turn down the heat if necessary so that they don't burn. Next, add some salt, and you can always adjust this later on if you need to. Then add the soaked and strained dal. Give everything a stir so that the ingredients are properly combined, and this is what it should look like. Yours might look a little different. That's okay. Next, add the water. And remember, you are using 3.5 times as much water as you've used dal. So if you've used 1 cup of dal, use 3.5 cups of water. Now you're going to close the pressure cooker. So turn up the heat on high as it'll go, and shut the lid. Don't give it a second thought. Now it might take a little while for this to happen, but eventually your cooker is going to start hissing. Don't look at this as a sign of aggression. It just means that the cooker is going to whistle. And for this recipe, you need 3 whistles. If you'd like to keep some distance between yourself and your cooker, that's just fine. And once you hear that 3rd whistle, turn down the heat as low as it can go and leave your dal on simmer for 10 minutes. Then turn off the heat and wait for all of the steam to escape the pressure cooker. Sometimes I'm a little impatient and so I rush the process, but once all the steam has escaped, open up your pressure cooker and give your dal a stir. And here's what it should look like. Not too thick, not too thin, nice chunky pieces of tomato. I like to do a taste test, and if I need to adjust the salt, then I will, but if all is well, I pour it out and I dig in. If you want to take this one step further, you can spoon in a little bit of ghee or clarified butter. You can even garnish this with some freshly chopped coriander. But that's it! I hope you try it, and I hope you nail it. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.